Yo, 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 new day, new day. I have, for the past, half a day, and continuing the rest of today, I will be the most unemployed I've ever been. Because I am currently watching Undead Unluck, and I intend to finish the entire thing today. Because, God, it is undescribably good. But I will try to describe it anyway, and that's gonna be the main shtick of today. So, you might be thinking, if you're watching this not years after this comes out for any reason whatsoever, what the fuck am I yapping about? Anyway, I am an avid listener of the one and only Otaku's Anonymous, which is just a random anime podcast of two dudes yelling at each other every once in a while. And, you know, essentially, I'm just clearing their backlog, you know. I put it on, throw it on whenever I'm just playing anything, and they mentioned offhandedly from an episode from like a year ago that, oh, Undead Unluck has come out, and I'm like, yo, what the hell? Because I have had Undead Unluck like as a manga, as a, you know, I have been I guess intending to read it for years at this point, but time has just gone by as time does, and I have done nothing about it. And now an anime has been out for like a year plus without me ever noticing, because apparently nobody was talking about it. And after watching, I think I'm on episode, I just finished episode 14 out of 24 episodes. I started last night, by the way, and it is tomorrow morning now. I do not understand why people are not necessarily hating on it, because I've only heard good things about it, and I only have good things to say about it, basically. But like, I don't. Why was nobody talking about this when it came out? It just flew right over my head, even though it was supposed to be, like, on my radar. I don't know, was I just living under a rock at that point? I feel like nobody has mentioned this coming out, and nobody has any opinions about it. Like, what's going on? So I'm gonna throw out my opinion into the ether, and I don't know. Yeah, that's gonna be the topic of today, and probably also tomorrow, because I'm only halfway through, so 2 episodes of Undead Unluck yapping. So congratulations, you have just unlocked these 2 episodes. Anyway, the premise of this entire thing is that we have basically 2 main characters who are named essentially Undead and Unluck. That is their powers, that is like their, I want to say their hero names, but I don't really know what to call it. It's their epithets, essentially. It's kind of like a My Hero Academia universe, where some people have, no, very few people, to be fair, has certain powers to negate things. And I don't think there are other powers than negating powers. At least we haven't really seen them so far. So I think the only powers there are is to negate certain things. And those certain things, I don't know, I felt like when I started watching, like, okay, what's the shtick here? Are there like 5 people in the entire world? But no. It's kind of like with Chainsaw Man, how there is like a fear, like every fear has a manifestation, and depending on the fear, the stronger it is, you know. That's a little bit more fleshed out than it is here, which is why I love Chainsaw Man, but that's for another day. I expected them to run out of things to negate pretty quickly. Like, okay, you can negate death, you can negate negate luck, and like, there are only a handful of other powers, I thought, but no, they just keep throwing things out there. There's like a sickness negation, like or a like rotting, basically making people into like walking fucking corpses. Then we also have this entire, it's called like the Round Table. The Union is our main faction that started off a couple episodes, like the first 2 episodes being like the big bad guys that needed to chase us down because we were, no, I say we, but the main characters here have pretty dangerous powers if left unchecked. So, you know, the options were either recruit them or kill / capture them. And, you know, for our main characters, the biggest priority is to survive. Well, that's actually very much a lie. One of the main characters, Undead, his main shtick is that he cannot die, and he is desperately looking for a way to die. God damn it, they would both have hit me. I feel red like a book. Anyway. That is basically the motivation, is that our one main character really wants to die, but he cannot die. And the second main character, Unluck, is this girl who is just, you know, giving out unluck to everybody she comes across. Every time she, you know, if you touch her, you get hit by a fucking meteor strike or some shit. There's like some more finicky thing. It's kind of like, I don't know, I keep comparing them to like these crazy power systems, but it's not really, like, it's a lesser version of a lot of different power systems. Like, it's interesting to see at work. Like, I was about to say, like, it's a Hunter x Hunter fighting style where they have to like figure out each other's like abilities, kind of like, you know, Hunter x Hunter, like in JoJo's, for example. Also, they have like a bunch of different powers, but there are also very specific restrictions to these powers, and that's why the fights in this anime are so interesting, because they're just so entertaining to watch, and like trying to figure out in real time, like, oh, what is this guy's power? Like, okay, this girl can she can create barriers. Like, that seems pretty freaking overpowered. But if you cover her barriers in blood, you can see exactly the extent of her powers. Like, that's, you know, it forces the characters to be creative, and, you know, as an extension, it forces me, as the viewer, trying to figure out what the hell is going on, to also be creative. There is a tiny little flaw, though, and that is just the explanation of the powers is kinda, I don't know, I don't know if it's just a translation thing, but I find them kinda hard to understand sometimes. But it does not ruin the show for me whatsoever. But that's the main shtick of our 2 main characters, is that, you know, the big thing is that this guy wants to die, and this other girl can fucking dish out bad luck. And if there is enough bad luck, the theory that Undead has is that, okay, you know, maybe if there's enough unluckiness thrown upon me, maybe I can actually die. That would be pretty sick. There's also a whole thing, you know, the typical anime thing of, like, our main character has, like, secret abilities hidden away, like, I don't know, kind of like, what is it, 7 Deadly Sins does this, for example. It's, like, sealed away, but this time our main character seals his own powers away, because, you know, he seals his memories away, therefore his powers, and how he uses those powers. And we see him unsealed, like, 2 different times. One of them is like, yeah, okay, it's just an introduction to this guy, to his actual powers. But another time is because they are about to fucking lose this mission to slightly strong, the Unrodder guy, who is basically rotting everything. Pretty sick fucking ability, if I gotta be honest. But you know, he unleashes his inner demon, his inner self. You know, his true potential, his true powers, and he changes his hair. He's way faster at regenerating to the point where he can basically create clones. It's a pretty sick fucking ability to, you know, to show basically like what's the ceiling of this ability, you know, type shit. Which I really enjoy when shows do correctly, and I feel like this is done correctly. And it's kind of teased, I don't know, it basically, this union thing, the round table, is filled with very fucking strong people, but it takes basically all of them to take him down, undead, like full power undead, and it kind of just shows just how terrifyingly strong this guy is, and it makes me wonder very much about his past, and I hope we get a backstory of some sort later, and not just, oh, my, you know, my feelings now, my memories now are stronger than my memories of the past, and therefore I take over and I unlock all my powers, but not lose control of myself type beat. Even though I can very much see that happen, and I mean, yeah, it makes sense, but it's just, you know, it's been done so many times before, like losing control of your powers and learning how to control them, essentially. Like, it's been done many times before, but it works fine. But essentially, our main cast is joining this round table, who is having, that's also something I'm trying to figure out, that is kind of like, I don't know, you're drip-fed information about this round table, and it feels kind of like everybody there are hostages to some extent. Like, yeah, they're a powerful group of people who are trying to save the world, but they're basically only trying to save the world because otherwise, you know, the world is pretty fucked. And they have basically, I see it as like a quest giver. Like, this is their, if we dumb it down enough, this is like their guild, right? And the quest giver is God, essentially. And God comes in the form of the book called Apocalypse, who is really fucking cool, by the way. He just like pulls out some random quests once in a while, and we don't really know where the, like, where do these quests come from? Like, what's the point of, like, why this quest specifically? But this book is somehow, if not directly, related to God, which is really, like, there's a lot of things about, like, you know, fate and you know, changing fate and whatnot. Like, the entire ability of Unlock is, you know, fate related. God, I am horrible at this fight today. So, you know, basically the end goal that our team, the Union, comes to is that, okay, we either need to just, you know, play along with this ploy forever, like, until we drop dead, or we're gonna have to kill God. So, you know, that's a pretty interesting premise. It kind of reminds me somewhat of One Punch Man's shtick they got going on. Because there it's also, I don't know, I just like the implications when God is a literal character that is, you know, tangible, and, you know, you can actually fuck with them. That's pretty cool. I like that. But it's not, we don't know much about God. Like, what does God directly do the, like, are there punishments for God if these quests are not done? Because there are punishments and rewards for the gang when they do their quests and when they don't. And it's also kind of interesting, that's probably why it reminded me a bit of Chainsaw Man, is because of the, like the changing in humanity, I suppose. The implication is that a lot of things are just like kind of removed from the world, and as a result of these either punishments or rewards, they get like these memories back. For example, the galaxy, right? The just the concept of the galaxy was not a thing until they got a punishment for not completing a single quest. Then the manifestation of the galaxy was released, and you know, then the night sky fucking lit up with full of stars and, you know, fucking galaxies and whatnot. And I thought it was kind of goofy. They mentioned at some point, like offhandedly, kinda, like you know, main character, main bad guy meets and their friends, which is, you know, typical. They sit on the beach and paint the night sky, but the night sky is kind of empty, and I thought, huh, that's kind of goofy. And also the painting was, you know, it was pointed out, like, what are those things on your painting? They look like stars to me, but like, what are they? Which is kind of goofy, but I didn't really think too hard about it. But in retrospect, I really like that, because it reminds me a lot of Chainsaw Man. The whole, you know, Chainsaw Devil eating. Basically, eating devils into extinction, which sounds really goofy when I put it like that. But for example, there was the whole thing with the ear devil being eaten and then being thrown up again. Like, you know, ears at some point, like for a couple seconds, a couple minutes there in the Chainsaw Man series, ears was just not a thing. They were just gone, and people were looking at, like, you know, fucking paintings and whatnot, pictures of people, and thinking, like, what the hell are those things on the side of people's heads? Like, what's going on? Because every ear in the universe was just removed because it was eaten by, you know, the extinction devil, essentially, Chainsaw Man. And, you know, then it was thrown up again. Everybody has ears now, thank God. But, you know, it's just interesting to find that, like, the concept of, like, you know, taking from and adding to, like, the perception of reality. I don't know how else to put it, but I really enjoy that aspect when series do it right. And I feel like this Undead Unluck, they do it right, because it's the entire core of the series. It's not like spoon-fed to you, but you know, it doesn't make you feel dumb for not noticing. It makes you, I don't know. It's I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I enjoy the way they do, like, the reveals of the. Oh, God damn. The reveals of this show are pretty cool because they're just like offhand comments, reveals, and not much more. It's pretty cool. I like it. And so should you, because we all need to have the exact same opinion about everything. But I am, yeah, as I said, 14 episodes in. I intend to watch it all today. I still have a lot of time left of the day, so might as well. I have nothing else to do. I am unemployed for the week. So, yeah. I just got... They just unlocked a new seat at the round table. That was one of the rewards they got for the last batch of missions, the last batch of quests. They got a new table at a new seat at the round table, and they need a new member. They need to find a new member somewhere out there in the world to recruit, basically. Am I gonna die here? Just 1 second of not paying attention. God damn it, this sucks. And they had this whole thing at a ship, at a, you know, out of like Brazil, some sort of black market deal. And I also enjoy that, like this quickly into the show, they reveal that a black market does exist, because a lot of series kind of just ignore the underworld side of things, but you know, there is an underworld fucking everywhere, right? So obviously there's gonna be an underworld here where, you know, God, there's so much to explain. There's a lot of things that are connected to each other, but basically, one of the missions in the first batch here was to, that we don't get to see, to be fair, but it was to capture, I guess, or kill the language, unlanguage or something. So basically the reward for that is that all languages in the world are united into one. So everybody now understands each other, you know, common folk. But it's not affected to the negators, the power having guys. They're not affected by this, so they are like unknowledgeable about everything. That's also, you know, when the galaxy was reintroduced, our main characters knew nothing about the galaxy. Like, what the hell is this thing? But everybody else knew, and there's like, you know, mythological things tied to the galaxy and whatnot, all of that stuff, you know. The same goes for languages. So basically all these languages that people just speak, if you only speak this one language, it just sucks to suck. Because everybody speaks English now. And then it is really easy to figure out who's a negator in society, because there are people like hunting. There's a lot of hunting of the negator people. So yeah, basically it's been a fucking breeze to find these guys, and then, you know, after that, of course, the black market is thriving, and they have caught Unmove, yeah, who is basically the same, kind of the same ability as another one of the round table guys, Shen, who's like, when he looks at you from a certain distance, you just can't move. And this guy basically has the same ability, but he does not fucking really know. He's a little kid. He's scared as shit. And he was just kind of thrown into this world where Shen is like some sort of martial artist. He's been at the round table for quite a while. We can assume, at least. I already lost 3 blood hearts. Wow, damn. This sucks. So I don't really know what's going on there. We also got the lore drop of like, kind of like devil fruits from One Piece. Like once the power user dies, that power is just kind of reincarnated or like transferred to another person in the world. And that is essentially why they capture, the Union captures a lot of people instead of killing them. Which also means, no, that actually doesn't mean, they didn't kill the rotting guy, they captured him. I don't know how they captured him. I don't know how he's not dead, is this what I'm trying to say. Because a bunch of a whole ass meteor strike hit the guy. But yeah, that is... I was about to say that's the shtick. I still need to explain like the whole ship deal. They need an 11th member of the 11th. I don't know. They need a new member for the round table, and that comes seemingly in the form of this Unmove guy. But I am very interested because one of the bad guys, Unrepair, that we initially we just needed to seek him out because like, who is this guy? Can we use him? No, he is very evil. We cannot use this guy. He has now turned up in the last couple seconds of the latest episode. Like, main bad guy turns into main good guy. I don't know. I like that shtick, but I don't know if that's gonna be the case. I don't know who's gonna join. There's only space enough for one. more person at the round table, so who knows if they're both gonna join, if, you know, somebody is gonna die. I don't know. Who knows? It's also kind of interesting that not, like, this kind of feels like a show where people would be slotted into, like, oh, this guy's a bad guy, this guy's a good guy type beat. But they're not, really. Like, nobody is really, like, this guy's evil, this guy's good, type deal. Oh, please don't let me die here, Jesus. Oh, let's go, W. So, it's very interesting seeing the, like, dichotomy between people. Dichotomy? That was a big word that I just threw out there that I don't really know the meaning of. Essentially, it's really interesting to see how people interact with each other. Because there are, like, if it's not just, this guy's good, this guy's bad, and therefore, we are friends, we are enemies type beat. Like, you know, for example, the girl, Gina, I think so, that we beat, basically fucking killed in order to get into the Union. She had friends in the Union, like, she actually was somebody's, like, pal, and now we gotta get along with them? With the friends of the guy we killed to get in here? Like, that seems a bit, you know, odd, but I didn't really think much of it, but of course, they actually do something about that. The ball girl, who I forget the name of, she was really good friends with Gina because, I don't know, some sort of backstory, but they were good fucking friends. And, you know, it was kind of goofy that they showed it in a flashback instead of just showing it in real time. But I still respect it. Can you fucking please give me some space to heal? I beg of you. Oh well. I might die here. Who knows? Oh well. Shuckies. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see how things develop. Also, we haven't really been... Oh shit, yeah, I guess that's one way to bow. We haven't been properly introduced to a lot of these guys. Like, it's very shonen-y, where we have to essentially... You know, we get a little title box or something. We get a little like speedrun introduction to everybody. We see somewhat everybody's powers, and I like what I like the powers so far. They're pretty interesting. But we don't really get them fleshed out as characters before we spend some time with them, go out on a mission with them. So we know a little bit about Shen, for example, the first guy, but we don't really... You know, I feel a lot closer to him than I do somebody like Top, I think his name is, the speedster kid. He can run pretty fast, and that's basically the extent of him. He's a little kid. That's about all we know. Also, somebody I feel like I really like is the gunslinger guy, because again, it's not like spoon-fed to you like what their abilities are before, you know. Yes, it is, but it's only after we see them in action and have had ample time to figure out what their abilities are. But I feel like this gunslinger guy is a good example of like these offhand comments that the Union here just throws around. Like, they talk to each other like normal people. Like, they're not just like in a show and need to explain everything going on. So we know from context that this gunslinger guy is he is straight up just blind. which is really fucking. It's just a cool ass concept. The monkey brain in me has really attached himself to the concept of a blind gunslinger. That's pretty cool. You just flew into the ground. That is messed up, brother. So I think that's really fucking cool. We also see, like, he's just a chill ass guy. He, like, you know, he's just a cool, chill guy. He, like, cares for certain people more than other people. Also, like, they have opinions on each other, you know? It's pretty interesting to see. We also get to see that... Where the fuck am I? I don't usually make it this far, my bad. We get to see this, basically the leader, the #1 seat of the round table, that I also forgot the name of, but, the leader woman is... I really want to know more about her ability. When we first saw her in this, like, clash everybody had with full power undead, we essentially only saw her just doing, like, swordsman thingies. God damn it, I didn't have enough. Yeah, I fumbled that blood heart. We only get to see after the galaxy guy is released, and, you know, fucking aliens come to invade the Earth. That's kind of the penalty there. We get to see her ability. Jesus Christ, I am being stomped. We get to see her ability being, like, her name, her epithet is Unjustice, which is pretty freaking cool. But it's also, like, very abstract, and that's kind of what I like about it, like, figuring out these very abstract abilities. Like, is it her own sense of justice? Is it the other person's sense of justice? Or is it some third option? Like, whose justice is being undone here? God, I was so high up, I was sure I wasn't gonna get hit there. Yeah, this is my own fault for not paying attention to the fight and just continuing yapping. I should really just stick to my... I say it every time, but every fight beyond Collector, I really need to pay more attention. I say that every time, and I never do. I never stick to my own words. Yeah. Oh well. I'm just gonna watch Undead Unlock the rest of the day. So peace out, fellas. Smell you later.